Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news. Stay tuned. Hello, great people. Welcome back to our channel. We're so excited to have you again. This one is breaking. The issue of Natasha has been a serious case of concern to Nigerians, and this time around, the judiciary seems to be very fair to her, as they have given instruction to the Senate to do the needful, which is to recall her back. Let me give you full details of what transpired today in court. Now, according to the news, Justice Binta Nyako of the Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the Senate to recall the suspended Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpabio. Delivering judgment, Justice Nyako described as excessive the 6-month suspension that was imposed on the lawmaker. The judge faulted the provision in Chapter 8 of the Senate Standing Rules, as well as Section 14 of the Legislative House's Powers and Privileges Act, declaring both to be overreaching. The court also held that Senate President Godswill Akpabio was not wrong to have denied Senator Natasha, who was not in the official seat that was allotted to her, the opportunity to speak during plenary. The court asked her to apologize to the Senate. Justice Nyako added that the two pieces of legislation failed to specify the maximum period that a serving lawmaker could be suspended from the office. According to the court, since lawmakers have a total of 181 days to sit in every legislative cycle, the 6-month suspension handed to Senator Applaud was equivalent to pushing her away from her responsibilities to her constituents for approximately 180 days. It held that though the Senate has the power to punish any of its members who err, such sanction must not be excessive to deprive the constituent of their right to be represented. Justice Nyako equally dismissed Akpabio's contention that the court lacked the jurisdiction to entertain the suit, which he said borders on an internal affairs of the Senate. Earlier in the ruling, the court imposed a 5 million naira fine on Senator Applaud for violating its order, which barred the parties from making public statements about the subject matter of the suit. It further ordered her to publish an apology within 7 days in 2 national dailies. Senator Applaud is also facing 2 separate cases of cybercrime and defamation in 2 separate courts in the nation. Wow, this judgment has triggered a lot of reactions from Nigeria. But first of all, let's take it from Inibege Effiong, one renowned lawyer who has been involved in cases like this. And this is what Inibege has to say. He says that the judgment of Justice Nyako seems to assure both parties the suspension of Senator Natasha for 6 months was blatantly obnoxious, illegal, and unjustifiable. The Senate should comply with the judgment and recall her immediately. It is ridiculous to expect her constituent not to have representation for 6 months. Other Nigerians also who queue up to react, the likes of Toby Akimbo says, watch them disobey the court judgment with nothing go happen attitude. Another one here says, do you think Wike won't use her kitchen staff to change it? Is there still hope for enforcement of judgment? Will they respect the court ruling? Wow, that's a serious thing. Another person says something very touching. He said, let's see if the lawmakers will respect the law they make. This one here says, one Olajide Law said, tell her not to shake her bum again in the chambers to avoid looking harassment. Whoa, this is really serious, I must say. So many other reactions are, just coming in, and other Nigerians believe that this is victory for her if they can only align with it. Another person here talking says that this action taken by, this court judgment will be disobeyed. If you doubt me, let's see what will happen the next few weeks. This one here says, you can appeal on her behalf because it will be turned down. I don't know what that means, But however, I think it's still pointing to the same direction. And someone here said, you didn't add the same court asked her to apologize to Senate for treaties in the chamber. Yeah, I think they also asked her to extend apologies, to the Senate for what had happened, and they say it should be national day. But I think that before she does that, they should also. I feel that since the court has given its verdict, there should be a reconsideration. The Senate should call her, if not for any reason, for the fact that she needs to represent her people, because that's the essence of having a lawmaker. If you suspend her for 6 months, I think we're already gone 2 or 3 months now. If you suspend her for the next 6 months, imagine in a whole year, your legislative cycle, you have 181 days, and she's going to lose as much as all of that, not representing the people. It's outrightly wrong. And I feel that there should be a review of the legislative laws so that it can clearly specify what to be done to a legislature who violates their law. And I feel it should just be something of 1 week, 2 weeks, or max 6 weeks suspension. It shouldn't be such, that goes that far. And I love the fact that she has stood her ground for as long as now. And this is what we mean when we say follow a politician with Sabi road. She knows her right and she stood by it. I mean, this brings me back to, what happened in Rivers State. And you can see that the judiciary will never go against certain provisions. The judiciary cannot judge anything outside of the Constitution. And that's why most of us were begging that even if you're going to reconcile with your boss some time ago, but it's good enough that those who are perpetrators, that's those who are fond of breaking the provision of the Constitution, they have been brought to book. Because imagine if Nigerians were mounting pressure on the Supreme Court and said, no matter what, you need to form a group of justices who will handle this case. And they look at Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the eyes and said, Oga, you do not have the right to kick out a sitting governor, to kick out an elected officers from their own position, because they were not elected, they were not appointed by you, but they were elected by you. That's what Nigerians were looking for. But out of fear and whatever, he had to, do what he did by reconcile. I'm not interested about the reconciliation, but there are times we need to congratulate certain things. I said, this thing is wrong. And the president needs to know that he doesn't have the right to do this and do this and do this. And no matter what, I think the ideal thing would have been to put pressure on the Supreme Court, for them to go ahead with the case. I love the fact that the female senator has shown who she is. Don't also forget that she had slammed 100 billion naira alleged defamation suit on Akpabio, while the Akpabio led upper legislative chamber referred her to the Senate Disciplinary Committee some times back, when she did all of that. Now the case has been brought to conclusion. I think as of now, there should be a reconsideration on the part of the Senate to bring her back. Let her pay the 5 million, because, the reason why she has to pay the 5 million is because of the fact that they had won, that she should not drag this, or she should not make any public statement after then. But I think she did not obey that, and I think the court is very fair. If you look at the judgment, the court is very fair, from what they have done. And thumbs up to Natasha. The only prayer we are praying now is that, please, Senate President, please just respect the court ruling and call her back. If not for anything, let her start doing her normal duties. My colleagues in the House, what's your standpoint on the fact that Natasha has been recalled back? Or she's going to be recalled back? Let's be hopeful.
You know how Nigerian judicial system works. They will tell you we are going to appeal the case. I'm so sure that the Senate President will do the needful. We will hear things like stay of execution, and the next thing you hear is we're taking it to the upper one thing. Then when they now get to Supreme, we have seen this thing play out in the time of a government, Rivers State government, Fubara versus lawmakers. Fubara won all the lower cases, from the state to appeal to federal. When it got to Supreme Court kicked it was just kicking gbas. And people just wondering how Supreme Court would run into with a judgment that is almost not consistent with the appellant court. Of course, it's the apex court. You have no other option but to obey the court. So I'm not super excited over it. Yes, though I'm happy, but I'm not super excited because there's going to be another appeal. They will have things like stay of execution until it gets to Supreme. Don't forget that the government, federal government service, almost the AGF is almost included in this matter, and it's as if the federal government service is even interested in this matter apart from Gospel Akpabio. So yes, they will always give that inferior of the judiciary is very fair, very firm. When they get to Supreme Court, I believe that this matter will still get to Supreme Court. But for the now, let's just rejoice over the little victories she has recorded.
All right, that's what we'd like to